Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. The four Yonko are considered the greatest powers and dangers in the seas of One Piece. However, their very first formation is still likely the most powerful. And Luffy knows this, he just didn't imagine who the first Yonko was. It all starts with the Yonko, the emperors of the seas who rule the New World like furious kings. Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks. But what if I told you that before them, there was an even more terrifying guy? Rox Dabbec, the pirate who gathered these monsters into a single crew with the dream of ruling the world. In chapter 957, Sengoku reveals that Rox was Roger's greatest enemy, a D, obsessed with power and the forbidden secrets of the world government. But Rox wasn't just strong, he was chaos incarnate. His empire wasn't just about strength, but destruction, and he led an alliance of future Yonko and Hachinosu, the island of bees, where pirates gathered to plot the apocalypse. Now, Luffy, the hero who's always wandering around, uncovering other people's pasts, begins piecing this together little by little. But the theory imagines an epic moment where he finally connects the dots. Rox is the first Yonko, the prototype who inspired the pirate leadership system we see today. In chapter 1095, the God Valley flashback shows Rox hunting celestial dragons, a mission so insane that it forced Roger and Garp to unite to defeat him. Imagine Luffy in Elbaf chewing on a giant apple while an old giant elder approaches and says, "Hey kid, the real king of shadows was Rox. He made Kaido look like a tiny lizard." It's a surreal vision, but Luffy, with his simple way of thinking, would understand that Rox was the lost titan, the true king of the seas, long before the current Yonko. And the mystery only deepens. Rox, like Luffy, carries the D in his name. This is no coincidence. The D connects Luffy to a lineage of destruction and revolution, linking all the D to the greatest events in history. Rox was the prototype, the true nightmare who paved the way for the monsters that came after, like Kaido and Big Mom. And if Rox was the first Yonko, he is, in a way, the father of everything to come. In chapter 1154, with more recent revelations, we learn that Rox was obsessed with taboos forbidden by the world government, perhaps manipulating devil fruits or studying ancient lineages. Upon discovering this, Luffy would realize that his journey is intrinsically tied to a struggle that began with Rox. Today's Yonko, with their alliances and empires, are just echoes of that original chaos. Luffy, with his desire for freedom and to destroy the current system, follows the path laid by Roger. But now, with a new perspective, he isn't just fighting the Navy, he is confronting a legacy of tyranny that started with the man who dreamed of ruling the world. Rox wasn't just an enemy of the past, he was the greatest adversary of all. Roger, the man who laughed in the face of death in Logtown, chapter 0, is more than the legendary pirate who drove the world mad. He is the key to understanding the secret of Rox Dabbec. The theory suggests that by uncovering Roger's past, Luffy stumbles upon a hidden truth. Rox wasn't just one of the Yonko, he was the original Yonko, the true titan defeated by Roger at God Valley, and his fall shaped the current era. In chapter 966, during Odin's flashback, we see Roger sailing to the end of the Grand Line. But chapter 1096 expands the God Valley story, revealing that Rox gathered monsters like Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom to hunt treasures and challenge the gods themselves. That wasn't just a group of pirates, it was an army of titans united under the leadership of a man obsessed with absolute power. Luffy, the heir of Roger's hat through Shanks, chapter 1, begins putting the pieces of the puzzle together. He would discover this truth about Rox through relics of the past, or allies like Rayleigh, chapter 507, who could be the key mentor on this journey. Imagine Rayleigh with that nostalgic smile saying, "Luffy, Roger didn't become king of the sea by chance. He destroyed Rox's dream, the pirate who wanted to be a god." Those words would spark Luffy's understanding that his journey echoes Roger's. But now, he is ready to face the ghosts of that past. In chapter 1158, recent spoilers confirm that Roger met Rox on Pirate Island. The confrontation between them was inevitable and set the course of the future. Now, imagine Luffy, in his peculiar way of understanding things, blinking confused and asking, "So, this Rox was like a super Kaido, but with even crazier friends? Oh, then I'm taking him down too." Luffy's simplicity, contrasted with the complexity of Rox's legacy, creates a perfect scenario for the hero to dive deeper into this mystery that still haunts the world. And here's the real connection that shines. The D, Rox Dabbec, chapter 9. 157, Roger, Gold D. Roger, and Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, all share the same initial. This is no coincidence. Rox, a corrupted D's, would represent the antithesis of Roger and Luffy, AD, consumed by the desire for absolute power. Discovering that Rox was a D who lost his way explains a lot about the world government's fear of all D. They know this lineage represents not just power, but the potential to destroy the system they built. The famous D clan, as Clover mentioned in chapter 395, is seen as a historical threat, and Rox was the first clear example of this threat in action. Luffy doesn't stumble into this revelation by accident. The manga has been planting seeds from the very beginning. In chapter 433, when Whitebeard mentions the old days with Rox, Luffy is more concerned with eating than listening. This is already a clue that he knows nothing about the impact Rox had on history, but eventually he will find out. The theory suggests Luffy will make this discovery in key locations like Elbaf or Laugh Tale, where the giants or poneglyphs, chapter 1115 with Vegapunk's broadcast, may reveal the truth behind the original Yonko. It is there, at some crucial point, that he will piece it all together. In chapter 1095, Kuma's flashback connects God Valley directly to Rox. Luffy, now, as Joy Boy, chapter 1044, is the heir confronting echoes of the past, reliving the battles his predecessors fought. The connection between Luffy and Rox will become increasingly clear as he understands his role in the fight against a system that existed long before him. In chapter 1154, Rox gains more prominence as the pirate seeking domination, possibly involving forbidden studies, maybe even with the animenomi, chapter 765, to achieve immortality. The theory speculates that while Luffy investigates the Void Century, chapter 1114, he will come across this information, perhaps through Vegapunk or even Dragon. Imagine Luffy in the middle of one of these discoveries, shouting excitedly, "This Rox looks like a villain from an ancient story, but I'm the king now, Shishishi." It's a moment of realization where Luffy understands that the world still bears the scars of the battle Roger and his allies fought against Rox. To him, this figure from the past isn't a distant mystery. It's part of the legacy he now has to face. Kaido and Big Mom, former members of Rox crew, chapter 957, begin dropping hints in Wano. Kaido, in chapter 1001, casually mentions Rox as if his name still carries weight. And by defeating them, Luffy ends up inheriting the legacy of these former emperors. By dismantling the current Yonko, Luffy would realize that Rox was the first emperor, though in an unofficial sense, a figure of power and chaos who shaped the pirate system as we know it. What begins as a simple journey to find the One Piece gradually becomes a mission to destroy Rox's legacy and his pursuit of absolute power. And from what we've seen so far, the first really seems to be Dabbec. Since he originated almost all the others in his crew, Rox D. Dabbec was the captain of the famous Rox pirates, a crew made up of some of the most powerful and feared pirates that ever existed. He wasn't just an ordinary pirate, he was a man obsessed with absolute power. In chapter 957, Sengoku mentions that Rox was Gol D. Roger's greatest enemy, one of the most threatening figures the world had ever known. He was also a D, which connects his fate to a legacy of destruction and revolution. The major difference between Rox and the other Yonko, like Kaido or Big Mom, was his boundless ambition. Rox didn't just want to be the greatest pirate in the world, he wanted to be the god of the world. And he didn't fear challenging even the celestial dragons, who were considered the divine rulers of the world. This desire for absolute power led him to form an alliance with other extremely strong pirates, including Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, and other notable members who would later become leaders of their own crews. In the end, Luffy's journey isn't just about finding the One Piece. It's about dismantling the legacies of a dark past that continue to shape the world. The revelation about Rox Dabbec, the first Yonko, the pirate who wanted to be a god, is a key piece in understanding the origin of the current Yonko and the fear the world government has of the D lineage. By confronting figures like Kaido and Big Mom, Luffy not only inherits Roger's legacy, but also challenges a system that began with Rox. His discovery that, like Roger, he is the heir to a fight against absolute power will spark the true revolution in the world of One Piece. Luffy, as the new king, doesn't just break the chains of the past, he redefines the future, proving that to be the greatest pirate, one must not only rule the seas, but also destroy the echoes of a past that still haunts freedom. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.